In a quaint little small town park, I'm sitting here with singer-songwriter Brian Dickens from...
It's going to be a backseat hosting right off the bat.
That's what, I don't know, NPR phrases everything like a question, even when it's not a question. It's always like, the inflection is up on the word. We're always lifting at NPR. We like to uplift.
Did you grow up on NPR all of the time in the car?
I did, actually. I grew up on, I listened a lot to like Prairie Home Companion.
Mm-hmm, same.
Which I kind of liked, actually, at the time. I thought it was really good.
I like the goofy stories and that they could sort of just go on and there were no rules about it. And just very quaintly told, but also completely funny.
Yeah.
It was not, you have to like this. It wasn't respect it. This is old radio. You must enjoy it. It's classic.
Yeah. Right.
No, it was organically. I think it was funny.
I think my whole interest in like film noir and that whole aesthetic and era stemmed from the Guy Noir sketch on Prairie Home Companion. Which is like, they had the whole like Guy Noir, Private Eye. And that really spoke to me as a kid for some reason. I was really into it.
I haven't thought about that in a very long time.
It's burned into my brain from like car rides with my family.
Yeah. Do you know what car talk is?
Oh my God, of course I know what car talk is. Yeah. No, it's great. I love how they arbitrarily try to diagnose car problems over the phone. I think that's a great concept.
They try to do that based on the audience's mouth noise. They go, my car is going. When my dad and I talk about cars occasionally, my dad will be like, "Oh, my car is making this," and I'll be like, "What was that, Dad? Do that one more time for me."
Are you sure you're not to be confused with rakatakata? Like
me oh my, a great start. I don't want to say anything else now. I don't want to try to open up the conversation or the interview video in any different way other than straight up that.
We got a show tomorrow. That's
cool. We do have a show tomorrow. I think this video will probably get posted next week.
Nice.
So it will be time enough to share that. Actually, right where we're sitting is going to be a big Indigenous Peoples festival that's 2 days. Yeah. I think it runs, is it Friday the 1st? Is Friday? I think Friday's the 1st.
Right. Yeah,
but whatever it is, it's the 1st and 2nd of August here at Unity Park.
Yeah.
Insert B-roll here of where I'm going to point the camera around at different things and show you where we are at, so that you know where we're talking about. Unity Park, you can't really miss it here in Turner's. It's right next to the big darn green bridge. Get into it. It's beautiful here. I came to Turner's Falls.
I gotta rep the rocks in Turner's Falls. Excellent.
Where did you find those?
Like smooth rocks? So there's a little walking path you can kind of walk down to go kind of under the bridge, and there's like water and all these like round rocks and skipping rocks. Skipping rocks is like favorite pastime.
When I was a little kid, I had a frog pond near my house that always had water running through it, so it was stacked with like every single rock in that place had like a soft rounded top to it and everything. And we called it the frog pond because it's loaded up with frogs. I used to go in there and find those tiny little things and keep some too. So that's very, very nice. Before we get too far into things, I want to say that this is Olivia Nied. Olivia Nied is from Turner's Falls too. Not quite from Turner's Falls. You came here at a point.
Yes.
As did I. We all landed here in our own respective ways. I came to Turner's. It might have been more than 2 years of me being here before I even met Olivia, which is criminal.
Which is nuts. Yeah.
Which is it's criminal. It was at the National Spiritual Alliance open mic in Lake Pleasant, which I've talked about before on here. We met there, and it was at that moment that I said, I'm so disappointed that I've not found out about Olivia's music before. I told you I was going to buy your album immediately, which I did. It's called Just Enough, is that right?
Just Enough.
And you put it out in
2024.
In 2024, and it's like 10 tracks or more.
And it's like 11? Yeah,
11?
I think it's 11. Yeah.
So, and it's a great listen. You went with the idea of putting it on Bandcamp and hosting it with all of the words. Is that right?
Yes.
You filled out all the lyrics.
I actually
I'm
put
talking
the
a
lyrics
lot.
up
I will turn it over to you.
No, this is great.
But because I think there's a big contingent of people who I think make terrific music, and I just don't have albums from them, and I want albums from them. I collect CDs.
Yeah, you want the package.
I want to be able to keep it and not have it on Spotify. If you take it off Spotify, I still have it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like the whole video game conversation, which you might know about.
It's like also if you have the physical media, like if you have, I don't know, people seem to be more likely to like hear the album's like musical arc if you own it. If you physically have it, people will like go through and will like want to listen in the order that you put the songs in. Yeah. And which is often, I think, intentional, or I don't know, it was for me.
I just tried to order my album, and it was pretty darn hard because I got like 14 songs or more on it, so I'm trying to order them in some way. For me, it's not even as much about order as much as the intentionality of being able to sit and listen to all of it. Because if you listen to one or two songs and then get distracted and go to watch something different or whatever, you don't listen to the whole thing.
I do a lot of like genre bending, so it's hard. It was hard for me to organize that album because it was like genre-wise just all over the place. Like people would say like, "Oh, what's your music like?"
Diverse.
And I was like, it's got, you know, like a weird psychedelic song about MDMA, and then it's got like this folk song. It's got your standard issue autistic pop punk anthem.
It's diverse, and like I pitch people, I'm like, "Oh, I play folk music."
Yeah.
Have you listened to folk music?
The category is pretty broad right now.
I most certainly don't play, you know, your classical folk music.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I don't know what you grew up with, but I grew up when I was 14, 15 doing coffee houses with like folk musicians who had been going to folk music coffee houses for 30 or 40, 50 years at that point. And I was not, from the get-go, I was not playing the same kind of music.
The first gig I ever played like in front of people, I was like 10 years old, and I played at a local diner called Roxy's Diner. I think it was Roxy's Diner in upstate New York, and it was like a 50s themed diner, and I was 10 and I asked the owner if I could play a show here for the next like car cruise in. And I was like, is it cool if I do this? And he said yes, thinking I was joking.
I just want to note that you are wearing a Corvette shirt today.
I am wearing a Corvette shirt. Yes. Yeah, it was like a total like 50s cruising thing, and I played a bunch of like 50s like, you know, ballads like Earth Angel and things like that.
Come on, they must have loved that.
They were really into it. I think they thought I was very endearing. I got paid in an ice cream sundae, which made me very happy as a 10-year-old.
This was your first paying gig when you were 10?
Yeah.
No one's going to top that.
It wasn't like the strongest show I've ever played.
The sundae was better than the set.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I was doing it for the sundae primarily. I wasn't committed to the music industry yet.
How long did you play?
Well, they hired somebody, so I opened for the person that they hired, which was cool. So I played like a solid 30 minutes.
That's not
as
bad.
a 10-year-old.
That's hard.
Yeah, it was hard.
When I was
covers pretty much. I hadn't written songs yet.
When I was about 14, I played 2 songs at a coffee house open mic thing for my middle school or high school, whatever you call it. And it was just 2 cover songs, and that was an extremely big, hectic, scary moment.
Yeah.
So being 4 or 5 years younger than that and playing to a lot of people at this thing probably.
Yeah, a fair amount of people.
A lot of people go to car like cruises and car show, was it?
It was just like a old vintage car show kind of thing.
When I was 10, I was playing trombone in a band.
That's awesome.
Not in a band like a, you know, rock band, but in school band.
Yeah, I played in my middle school jazz band actually.
What did you
a lot.
Play?
I played guitar in it, and so that was like, I feel like that was the foundation for me of like, I use, even though I'm not really like a strictly jazz musician, I use a lot of like those type of chords, and I learned a lot of that out of necessity because I had to learn these like weird voicings for my middle school jazz band, which infamously, it was really funny. We'd play all these like standards and stuff in rehearsing, but then we'd end up having to play like Brick House or something for like the actual performance. Like they'd make us play like She's a Brick do house.
Oh, I did a song. I did some kind of classic. We did Tequila. I was like, I'm like 10 years old.
By the Champs?
Yeah, whatever
tequila.
It is. Like,
yeah.
Except you don't say tequila, and the whole audience of parents of 8-year-olds are being like, "This is super funny." Like,
that's actually really funny.
That's
rich. Actually really good.
It was rich. It was a good time. Did you ever play a reed instrument or a brass instrument?
I played saxophone briefly
in
middle school, and I didn't really like stick with it. But it was great for lung capacity. My middle school had a thing called Meet the Instrument Night, where you could go and meet like seniors or something who played different instruments, and you got a chance to try them. And the one that I could make a sound out of like successfully was sax and also violin. So I started doing sax and violin.
Those are two murderous instruments for me. I can't get a note out of a reed instrument. I just don't get it.
Violin is the most unforgiving instrument you will ever hear. It's horrible.
I play guitar, so I kind of get it. It's like fret it and bow it. I get it. But it's you can't have your finger a little bit wrong. Yeah. Or else everyone's going to be like, everybody hates the sound of a scratchy violin. You have to be a very forgiving parent to deal with.
I tried to play flute at the media instrument night, and I couldn't get a note out.
I tried that when I was impossible. Like 20. I was just like, somebody's like, I have a flute. I said, all right, I'll give it a go, and I can't get a lick out of it.
I'm not a fan. It's hard.
Well, it's nice to have somebody on here who has tried with a bunch of different instruments and has found their way throughout the whole realm back to the instruments of rock and roll. Guitar, bass guitar, drums, all of which I've seen you play at least on video or whatever, or in person. Yep. Before I came out to do this with you today, I was moved to a song because I was digging through your album and I forgot exactly what song it was that had a nice snare and tambourine match to it, or no, hi-hat tambourine. Where you have the tambourine probably on the hi-hat. Or something like, people do that? I don't know.
Yeah, people do that. Yeah. Was it 25 years old? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Because that was like I remember like specifically, like, because I did that in the studio, and I remember specifically overdubbing the tambourine, and the engineer I was working with. It was overdubbed, and it was funny, and the engineer that I was working with at the time, like Andrew, he's awesome, he's great. I would do a take and he'd be like, you need to do less hits than you think you need, and I was like, but like it's hard. Like this, and he's like, no, but like don't like do it at every like couple beats, but not constant, because it's just going to wash things out. Recording really intensifies how things sound versus like live performing.
The reason I bring it up is because I went directly from that song to Keep Me Hanging On by the Supremes.
Oh, interesting.
Because it has the same damn thing. Yeah. It has a hi-hat matched with the tambourine, and that song just cranks. So,
that's so cool.
Right after that, I saw a playlist on YouTube, and it said Luther Vandross, Earth, Marvin Gaye, and the Supremes, and others, and I said, let's do it. So I just clicked that. So thank you for vibrationally sending me towards that realm of the music world and music history, because it's so good. Yeah. And this brings me back to a time where we were playing April 10th back at Marigold. Oh, yeah. And I think when you got there and were setting up, there was like Use Me Up by, what's his name? Bill Withers. Oh, right. Yeah. So Use Me Up by Bill Withers was playing, and then after that was like a lot of other of the same era. Yeah. And this is when I found out, I'm just like, oh, wait a minute. Like, Olivia's rock and roll. Like, and I've known this since the first time I've met you, and since we played together at the Shea Theater right down the road from here, that Olivia's very rock and roll. And so, again, to call you like a folk musician, singer-songwriter is good. I always say singer-songwriter. I
have a couple like more singer-songwriter vibey songs in that vein and stuff, but it's like, I think you're very astute to point that out. I think like honestly, even just foundationally on the like growing up on all this like 50s stuff and the Beach Boys, primarily like Pet Sounds, like I'm obsessed with that album and stuff. I think I guess I do have a solid like rock and roll foundation.
It's funny to go to rock and roll later after you telling me that one of your first shows was at a car show.
I know. It's kind of full circle. It's very full circle. It really is. I didn't honestly even plan to talk about the car show and wear a car shirt. It just worked out that way, too.
I love old school cars. I watched the On the Road movie, which was like the Jack Kerouac book adaptation that was in development hell for 50 years.
Oh, my God. I read the book when I was in high school, and it like I was obsessed. Like when I was in high school, that was like the coolest thing to me. I wanted to do that.
Brian looks to camera. Brian does Jim face to camera. Like, because I too was very into that. The reason I bring it up is because if you watch the movie, it's set very deliberately in the late 40s.
Oh, sure.
And so you don't see any car that isn't currently a 70 or 80 year antique. Yeah. And it's like really a beautiful movie because the car that they're rocking and rolling around for most of the movie is in a Hudson.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been inside a Hudson, and I'm just like, so cool. I can like spin around like this inside the car. And you can't really do that with modern cars. They're all small.
Do you know that,
how many cars can we fit on this roadway is how they build them.
I want to say it was early 40s or late 40s, early 50s cars. Some of the like more upper scale models had vinyl record players that would pop out.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. They did.
I mean, I guess
you could look
you
this up.
would.
They totally did. But my first thought is I'm like one pothole and it's over.
One
like
pothole.
the needles. Like, what is the point of that?
Well, when I think of hanging out in a car in that time, I think of cruising and hanging out
and
at
parking.
places.
Like you're not gonna listen to a vinyl record
but
rip down the highway.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
it's pretty weird to have a very, very skippable. If you thought like a handheld or pocket CD player or a tape player was skippy, like try a vinyl record player on a roadway.
I think it's funny though that the first time that my dad originally like told me that, like who's from that era, like told me that was a thing, my brain didn't immediately go to like, oh, people are probably parked and listening to it. I thought of someone speeding down a highway attempting to listen to a vinyl record in a car.
Your dad's from that era. I don't want to date your dad, but my dad's 65 this year.
Yeah, so my dad's
was born
like
in 61. That's born in 61.
Yeah.
So he grew up with a foot in that, obviously. Being
I
born
think my
in
dad's
61.
78. I think he's a little older, so he actually is. So he's older.
He has memories of the late 50s.
Yes, that's what I meant to sort of say. Yeah, he does.
That's interesting.
It's really interesting.
I have to talk to my gram about the cars she's driven because my gram's 90 now.
Yeah. My dad remembers, so my dad played drums in like a rock and roll group in like the early like 70s. So he was in high school, I think. And they played a high school dance where my dad remembers this, where a race riot broke out like in the high school like gymnasium. And my dad remembers trying to get out of there and packing up his drums and unscrewing his cymbals and stuff. And like him having to throw drumsticks at people to stop them from like lunging at him like on the stage.
Where was this?
Because they were playing in a place that was like a non-segregated like, or it was some situation like that where it was like it created a bunch of controversy. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah. He like remembers that like being a thing and just remember like this big scuffle happening and then him being like, I gotta get out of here.
It's hard to hear people talk about these kinds of issues being so far away because my father is like not the oldest person I know by a far stretch. My dad grew up during deliberate Boston busings in order to integrate Boston neighborhoods and Boston schools and stuff. So he grew up with all of that. So my dad remembers that very much and he could tell me a lot about that. Your dad's probably not the oldest person you know. He could tell you all about this kind of thing.
100%.
So it's, this, I guess it ties it all together that rock and roll and the entire genre adjacent to it blossomed out of an era of liberation. Of liberation and freedom and peace. And yes, there's a lot of unsavory things about rock and roll.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of, little things that tag
primarily the
it.
sex and drugs part.
Sure.
for one.
Sure.
But.
You're reminding me of something I said to somebody the other day just to be annoying. Sometimes I think of things to say and I go, don't say it. Then I go, say it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was telling them that the music that I played was like inspired by AC/DC because I like cranking easy chords and just like straightforward rock and roll stuff.
That makes sense.
And they said, AC/DC. And I said, I also love AC/DC for the lyrics. And they were like, okay. And I was just like, I thought to myself, don't say that. And I'm like, no, say it.
Yeah.
It was a fast machine. She got him.
Whatever he said or whatever the guy said.
Irredeemable things that band said on many records several times. I had somebody come up to me once at a show like 6 years ago, right before, it was my last pre-COVID show.
Sure.
And somebody came up and said, I like how you have this sort of straightforward like AC/DC rock and roll. And I was just like, bring it in. Like immediately I was like, this is the nicest thing anyone's ever said about my music because I love that band. And by the way, let's just touch back is that we're talking about rock and roll, liberation, freedom, happiness, and equality and equity. AC/DC is, like I said, remember we're talking about the weird tag-alongs?
Yes, yes.
AC/DC is loosely associated. But at the same time, bear in mind, they're very different. They're from the other side of the world.
Yeah.
They're from Australia. And if, to me, if you if you give me Baby Please Don't Go and Jailbreak and High Voltage and their early stuff, it's like fast rock and roll punks, proto-punk stuff. It came from about the same era. So to call them rock and roll similar to like what, I don't know, Creedence or Elvis or
on the proto-punk thing, on that topic that you were saying, a big influence for me like growing up and currently was like I distinctly actually remember my mom getting me into Elvis Costello a lot. And I really like the writing that he did, because I think like what is it, This Year's Model and My Aim Is True, two, like if not the first, probably the first two maybe Elvis Costello records are like really the ultimate young angry 20-something guy like breakup albums where he's just spitting all this like bitter angry feelings, and I have to be in a specific mood to listen to it. He's got a line where he's like you said I'm so happy or I said I'm so happy I could die, you said drop dead then left with another guy. And it's so angry, and I love it.
There's this whole section of like, rock and roll and popular, rock-ish music that is not extremely charitable to both sexes, to all genders, to all. To all.
And I acknowledge that, but
at the same time, I mean, when you say this, when you say this, awesome. I connect it directly to Death Cab and Modern Emo, and how badly this person broke my heart. How badly.
Are you a Ben Folds fan at all?
I know very little about Ben Folds.
I really like his like wry sensibilities. Like he's got this like weird sarcastic wit. I also really like, from a production standpoint, I think the first Ben Folds 5 album is like the best thing, because you can totally tell that he's playing piano live. The vocals are probably recorded at the same time into like what we're talking into, and that's it. And there's like they just played in a room and tracked it, and it probably was the first or second take of each song, and it was great.
Yeah, it's funny, recording into one mic or recording in one take is very similar to what you had with like old school rock and roll recordings and stuff. Yes, I saw it in a movie, which doesn't mean it's real, but I guess it's true enough that you listen to like Ray Charles, they set up the band, set up all of the mics, mixed it into a big board and said and said go, and then they took that take and that was it.
That's the best too, because my favorite thing about recordings of that era, like, I love like Little Richard and stuff, and like those recordings, Little Richard would have like, if you listen to him playing with a band and stuff like that, the tempo like wavers all over the place. Like if you were to put that into like a recording software and try to quantize it, you would be able to tell it's Russian in parts, it's Dragon in parts, and it's the best thing ever. I love that.
I have to try
so
that
much.
out, because my first album didn't have BPMs or tempos. It wasn't tempoed or locked.
It wasn't
to a
done
grid.
to a click or anything.
No.
Okay.
And then my second one was.
Got it.
And my friend Ian, who recorded my album, Ian recorded me and then played drums to the album after.
Yeah.
And
do you know Puzzle Piece
and
and
this 30? Was very hard.
Puzzle Piece and 30,000 Feet on my album, those were the two songs on the album not done to a click. And then when I added other instruments to those, like drums or whatever, I was able to match my own waver in time, because it was you could tell that it's there, and I can tell when I listen to it, but I matched it, so it almost seems intentional.
It's also you.
It's me doing all the parts.
Playing to you, whereas it was my songs being played to by somebody who didn't write my songs and doesn't play my songs.
Yes,
so
that's different.
There's recordings, or there's parts of the recording where you can listen to my friend like attempting to play drums. There's just little clicks where you're like, it's not quite tied up. Yeah. But again, he did a magnificent job. And,
that's awesome.
But at the same time, I don't know how many takes that man had to do to get it right. Probably more than he wanted.
Yeah.
One thing we discovered recently, we both like rock and roll and that kind of stuff. You seem to like and know more about actual like original rock and roll business. Like, I don't know anything Little Richard. I don't know Elvis Costello. He's a little later,
I know, like, I had a fascination with the production, like how that stuff was produced. Yeah. So I would just do research deep dives as like a kid, because it was fun for me to learn about, like, oh my God, I heard this, like, like my parents played a lot of that, so I would listen to like a Little Richard thing and want to know how it was recorded.
My first like old school music I listened to that I thought I was super cool for knowing when I was like 12 or 13 was the Queen Greatest Hits.
I love Queen so much. You know, oh my God.
And my mom saw Queen in I think 73 or 4.
My mom did too. Same.
Wicked.
Around I think she actually saw early 80s Queen.
Huh.
So,
amazing
which
time.
is very different eras of Queen,
Yes.
like musically and stuff. One of my favorite things about like 70s Queen and that era and stuff is that if you listen to their albums from that time, I think it's hysterical that they can go from something like Fat Bottom Girls to Seaside Rendezvous, which is like a jaunty little like seaside whenever you stroll along with me, da-da-da-da-da. Like it's like a 20s spoof almost.
They didn't have so tight of an identity to keep up and an image to keep up.
Yeah.
And Queen was Queen. Another One Bites the Dust.
Yeah.
And they were like, no. Somebody in the band, at least a couple of people in the band,
we're not doing disco.
Were like, this
we're not
is
doing
not
going
to happen.
Yeah.
But it's one of their best damn songs.
Yeah, it works. Yeah.
And then you put You're My Best Friend back to back with one of my favorite Queen songs is, of course I can't name it, Hammer to Fall.
Love Hammer to Fall.
If you put those two songs back to back, it's not the same band.
Yeah.
It can't be.
Yeah.
So this all gives credence to it's nice to have an album with a bunch of different styles.
Yeah.
My next album has a little bit of fast, a little bit of slow, a little bit of loud, a little bit of quiet.
Excellent.
And it sort of dances around.
Yeah.
It's all vaguely folk. A little bit ago, I was going to say that both like rock and roll.
Yeah.
On the road, very important to me, lyrically and just the way my words flow and my absence of punctuation and commas.
Yes.
In my speech and my writing.
I have a hard time, like, a lot of my songs are I've grown to, like, accept it more as, like, genuinely, like, I'm realizing it just is the style that I write in, but I used to, like, early when I started writing songs, I would, like, show stuff to my parents, so they would always think it was, like, they're so wordy, like, it's so wordy, like, you gotta pause.
But not too wordy.
Yeah, and then I started honing it, and in the last few years, I feel like I've honed it between, like, the right balance of, like, yeah, I am really wordy naturally, but also I try to, like, make it so it's not, like, I try to choose the words carefully that I'm using, at least.
You use so many words and stack so much in there, and none of it feels placeholder-y. None of the words I hear in your songs are just like, well, I guess that word will work. No,
cool.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Which is something I aim for, and I try very hard to aim for.
Yeah.
I will have a song sit for a long time because I don't know what word to put there, because I'm not willing to squeeze one in and be like, it's good.
It's good enough.
It's fine.
Right.
So, no, I really want to find the word that fits, so I appreciate that. I keep trying to get to this, but I love that we can talk about anything else. Both like rock and roll. On the road, I could go on.
Yeah.
And something we found out recently, which is I just got back from New York where I recorded my album. You were born up there? Or...
I was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Okay.
I lived there for like not long, like less than a year, and then moved to upstate New York with my family and lived in Schoharie County, Richmondville, New York, which you are very familiar with.
I wish to relate. We are going to spend some time on this, on how funny that is to me. Because,
it is really funny.
Because it's not that... Cobleskill would be funny. Cobleskill would be, whoa, that's interesting. My dad was born in Cobleskill. My dad's mom lived in Cobleskill for a long time, and they lived back and forth between like Metro Boston, Framingham, and blah, blah, blah. Not only does my gram live in Cobleskill or near Cobleskill, but she lives in West Fulton, which you know where that is.
Yes,
West Fulton is right next to Richmondville. Richmondville, is it?
Yes, okay. Richmondville, New York.
And then you drive through Richmondville to get to different places. All of these tiny little silly towns.
I went to Cobleskill, Richmondville Central High School. I don't know if you're familiar with.
I've driven by.
You've driven by.
I think I drove by it.
Yeah, I think you probably have.
When I was a little kid, in 93, 94, 95, and going into the early 2000s, I would go hang out with my gram up there, just so you have some reference to it. It's all the same green. It's all the same hills and mountains and valleys and whatever. Yeah. To call it all like this one big area of Schoharie County, the valley, to call it all like 60 different towns is very funny. Because it's all kind of the same thing. But we are direct neighbors, Richmondville, and what did I say? West Fulton. Yeah. And a funny little town called Break-A-Bean.
Yes, I know
Break-A-Bean.
Oh
That's where I got That's where I got my car fixed.
Do you know Blenheim and the Blenheim Bridge and all of that?
I've been there. I've been to the...
I played music on the original Blenheim Bridge before it was like flooded and like I played music on the original Blenheim Bridge before it was like
washed away
and rebuilt with some of the original wood. I think that was salvaged.
Clip that, send it to my dad. My dad's gonna freak out. My dad is into covered bridges, and
it's the longest I think in the world.
He went there for a long time. He says there was a lot of the wood knocked over from, it was Irene, right?
Yes, it was Hurricane
Irene.
Yeah.
My dad said that, I think this is true, I might be legend.
Yeah.
Legend's fun. Where he got some of the wood from it and will turn it into different home items like bowls and pans and stuff like that. Whenever he makes it, I'll be like, yo, Olivia, guess what I have? I have a bowl for you, and it's made out of the wood from the
That would be so cool. That would honestly be so cool. I would be thrilled.
It would be very cool. I'll tell you what, though, if he gives me one, I'll be like, Dad, would you make two? I need two.
Yeah.
Because he knows how to work with bowls and lathes and all that kind of stuff. I spent so much time hanging out up there. The one thing I mused immediately was, at one point, we were probably both at the Sunshine Fair.
Oh my God.
It has to have happened.
You've probably gone to like a demolition derby at the Sunshine Fair.
What I'm saying is we were probably both there at the same time. At some point.
Yes.
Because, I don't mean to date you, but I'm going to be 35.
Yeah.
And you're 20,
I'm 28, going to be 29 in December.
So that means that probably some point in the late 90s, we were probably there at the same time.
Probably.
Did you go to Sunshine Fair every damn year?
Late 90s. Oh, interesting. I was born in 97.
97. Early, mid-2000s.
So probably mid-2000s,
Because I went there every damn summer until like 2005, 6, 7.
Yeah, we probably did cross paths because I went there when I was like, I started going there when I was like really young. Like I had a really good friend, Cameron, and we would go to the Sunshine Fair.
The Sunshine Fair is a major county fair for the state of New York, and it goes for like 8 or 9 days.
Yeah.
It is a huge animal fair of like, there's equestrian and little horse thing or whatever it is. I don't know anything about it.
There's weird niche tribute music acts from the
bands.
Sunshine Fair. When I was a kid, I got really into baking, and I used to bake cookies and enter them in the Sunshine Fair. Like as a kid, like I would try to like win the chocolate chip cookie thing every year, and I kept
win what thing? Tell me about what that is.
It was like there was a thing where you could enter. Actually, I have a couple best in show ribbons. I literally won best in show at the Sunshine Fair for produce.
For produce.
For a couple of years, it was produce because I actually got really into. They had a biggest zucchini contest.
So you grew a giant.
I grew a giant zucchini, and I won best in show because my dad. It was 8 pounds. We had an 8-pound zucchini.
A lot of these things I find with those veggies is that if you just let them do their thing, they'll be crazy.
Yeah,
my gran planted
zucchinis are
I think
insane.
2 or 3 zucchini plants.
Yeah,
and they just next thing you know, you just have just ribbons of just like they spread out 15, 20 feet in different directions, and they just want to grow. I can't believe you have best in show ribbons. It's so funny.
do from literally the Sunshine Fair.
So not only do they have that, but it's a huge vendor fair, which disappointingly has like grown more and more Trumpy and weird over time. It's funny, we both have that similar background. We probably have been on the same rides.
Yes.
We've both been to a demolition derby, if not at the same time.
Did you ever go on Zero Gravity? Do you remember that ride where you go inside a thing and it spins like on its side?
I don't remember.
And it sucks you to the wall.
I don't remember being on one of those at the fair. I remember being on one of those at Canopy Lake Park.
Oh, interesting.
They have one at Canopy. It's called a Gravitron or it's something like that.
I think so. That sounds right.
But I've been on those, and man, my anxiety and just how I feel recently, I don't know if I could hack being on those rides. I will go to Six Flags this summer. I will probably go there. I think I might be going there on Monday with Maki, which is going to be hilarious.
Ooh.
We're going to take her kid.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
I have a membership.
That's great.
Which,
I love
this is
parks.
more flags, more fun. This is this is now a sales pitch. I think I paid, and it's probably more now, but when I started paying for it, I started paying $6 a month.
Oh,
for a membership.
Yeah,
$6 a month.
So easy, actually.
It's so fine.
That's awesome.
Because if you go twice in a season, that pays for the year. I think.
Yeah.
Anything that whirls you around really thickly and you can't move at all. Those I'm not so into.
I won't go on roller coasters that go upside down at any point. I can handle ones that don't, but even if it goes periodically upside down, it's just like I can't handle it. It's weird.
This means you would like Superman, but you wouldn't like the Joker or the Mind Eraser or the Riddler ride or whatever.
Right,
which is funny to me because Superman is brutal. Superman goes like 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And when there are no lines, this is what I was trying to say, is when there's no lines and you just go around and do coasters and coasters and coasters.
Yeah.
I, once upon a time, went on like Cyclone like 4 times. I'm like, this shit rules. It's my favorite coaster.
Is Cyclone the wooden one?
Wicked Cyclone, yeah.
I love
which
that
used to not go upside down, but now does. So maybe you're not so into it.
I went on it when it didn't go upside down.
Cyclone's brutal. You're kind of young for I've been on an old Cyclone. Cyclone closed in 2014.
Oh, jeez.
So, and then they opened it 8 months later a year later as Wicked Cyclone.
Interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Are you there's a term for people who are like really into like riding different roller coasters? Are you like a roller coaster junkie a little bit?
The funny thing is I have meant to use that interest more and to go travel to see more coasters and ride more things. It hasn't lined up.
Interesting.
But I do believe that the Six Flags membership might get me into Great Adventure, which would be pretty far out. Because if I go down there, I'm going to do... Kingda Ka's gone, but...
Dang it.
My brother went on it, and my brother said, cool, but it didn't change my life. It's sort of like more like a carnival trick. It's just like, we're going to throw you 120 freaking miles an hour. Are you ready?
Oh, boy.
Whereas other coasters have a little bit more taste, and that's why I like Cyclone, because it's super punishing.
I don't want speed. I want...
It's artful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And
I want taste.
This is very niche. I knew going into this that this would be a part 1. I knew.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh no!
I knew going into recording this that this would be a part 1.
Yeah.
But anyway, there are 2 different kinds of roller coasters. There's an out and back, which is. Do you know Canopy?
No, I don't.
Has Yankee Cannonball, which is a very classic out and back. It brings you out. It brings you up and up and up, and then down, and then it turns you around and brings you back to the station.
Yeah.
That's type 1.
Yeah.
Type 2 is a Cyclone.
Okay.
So there's 2 different kind of coasters.
Yeah.
Every one you will ever see is a out and back or a Cyclone. Cyclones drop you down and spin you around and wind you around and then back to the station.
Yeah.
And then out and backs are like an out and back would be Superman.
Okay.
Superman is an out and back with Cyclone sort of twisty ending.
Yeah.
That's why Superman's one of the best in the world.
That's cool.
And it won the best in the world many times over because that is what it is. It's 70-something miles an hour of smooth, out and back crazy crazy hills and 0 G time.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, it has such an enjoyable back end of it. It's such a cool coaster. I love how we're going into coasters on a songwriters video thing.
No, this is great. I was wondering if you had like a bit of a very specific interest in coasters, because it seemed like you kind of do.
I know about it, and I played Rollercoaster Tycoon a ton when I was a kid. I was going
to bring that up.
I played Rollercoaster Tycoon, and it was fun. So I know a lot of coasters because they put real coasters in the original game. A version of. Yeah. So I know about Mean Streak and how it changed into Steel Vengeance. And I know about this is so niche. This is great. But Mean Streak
on part 3, I'll go into my interest in Webkins. As we'll do that on part 3.
The Club Penguin section we're gonna do is going to break the internet. So I guess we do have to wrap it up because I didn't bring something to charge my battery with. Yeah. So before we're done, your website is
www.olivianied. That's NIED.com.
Very good. And then, do you have a show coming up in Turner's or this area?
August 9th.
Great.
At Stage 33 in Bellows Falls,
Vermont. To Vermont.
And that's going to be great. And that's with my friend Paige, and we're doing a duo, like a punk duo. Starlane Socks is our little punk duo that we're doing.
If there's something closer than Vermont, I will put it right here.
Totally.
Go to this show that is on the screen right now, where Olivia's playing. And you will love it. I'm going to put it right over the lake, right over the river.
I mean, Paige and I are also playing at the Quabbane, I think that's how you say it, Garlic Festival.
Quabbin?
Quabbin, thank you. Yes. I can't pronounce things.
Say that again?
Quabbin Garlic Festival. I think, don't quote me on this, I have to look it up, but I think it's September 28th.
People will know when that is.
It's a long ways
people
away.
know the Quabbin. Well, people make it's
going to be a good
point of it to go to that.
Because sometimes they get a huge crowd for that.
I would like to go to that. If you're playing, you'll be a musician I know there. Because a lot of the times I'm from there, but I'm from that area, but I don't really know the musicians that play it.
Yeah.
But
we're playing, I'll do some solo songs. We're doing some duo songs, and we're doing a couple where Paige is on guitar and I'm on drums. Neat. So we're switching.
I've only seen you play drums a couple times, and I go, oh, God, what does Olivia not do? Anyways... This has been great.
This is lovely.
I knew it would be a part 1.
Yeah, I had so much fun.
I didn't even say that this is the Plotcast, the Plot Dickens, Who Does Brian Know podcast. What is your big plan?
My big plot currently is I'm getting my EP mastered, and I just had a friend, my friend Eden, do an amazing cello part on one of the songs, and I'm getting it mastered and then released, and then also I will have very soon I will have merch made for my shows with t-shirts with hand drawings on them.
Take that as a plot.
Yeah.
And that'll be on either your Instagram page or off your Instagram page or the website or the
it'll be on both. I'll have physical ones and I'll sell some online too.
And that is Olivia Nied with an Nied. Nied, 4 letters, Nied. Olivia, again.
This was great.
Wonderful time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for showing up. Have fun. Bye-bye.
Rock and roll.